Hey guys, Felipe here, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about why you shouldn't join the infantry on the enlisted side nor the officer side. All right, even though on the officer side your quality of life is probably a lot better, but not as good as some of the other MOSs. All right, and first, we need infantrymen. All right, we absolutely need these guys. Don't get me wrong. However, if you're one of those individuals that scored a high enough ASVAB score and you qualify for a more technical position, or MOS, I would say absolutely go for it. Go for something else that, um, whether you decide to do 4 years, 20 years, 30 years, I would still choose an MOS that is going to give you some kind of experience with a position outside of the civilian world in what you want to do, right? Because you might be like, oh, I'm going to do 20 and end up like me only doing 7, and I had the mentality where I was like, well, I'll just do 20, get, my retirement, get out, and then go do another job and do for 20 years and collect another retirement. That was the case. You realize that your quality of life can be so much better, get paid way more, and overall just be happier. All right, so I'm gonna get into this and why you shouldn't join the infantry. And the first thing I'm gonna talk to you guys about is no opportunity for education. Okay, so your opportunity to educate yourself and go to school while you're in the infantry battalion is feasible, but it's hard, and it's hard because you spend a lot of time um, doing training, a lot of time doing field operations, and preparing for a deployment, right? Um, and that's what you guys do in the infantry, right? You do the deployment workup, you deploy, you come back, you rest, recover, and then you guys kick that shit again, right? And the infantry, the best way I can explain it is you're in a 20-year-old car. Okay, you're like in a beat up Toyota or beat up Honda Accord, 20 year old car, and it got pushed downhill, and then you realize that there's no brakes, and so you're in this beat up car going downhill with no brakes. That's what the fucking infantry feels like. Okay, I remember when my operations officer, he was a major. He had just came in. He was, I mean, we must have been like 8 months away from deployment or something like that. And he comes in 2 months into the job. I had seen him. I was on duty, and if you guys don't know what duty is, you pretty much spend 24 hours at your unit as security. You're pretty much just like responding to any incidents or any crazy shit that the Marines are doing in the barracks. So I was on shift that night, and you sleep in some busted ass bunk bed in the room in the headquarters building, and if you're lucky, you don't get pink eye or you don't get fucking some weird fucking shit from sleeping on that bed. But I seen the OPSO. We were doing some night operations, and I had seen the OPSO in the communications building while I was doing my tour, and then I asked him, and I was like, "Hey, sir, like ranks off. Like, what do you think about the unit right now?" And he was like, "I'm not gonna answer that." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I was like, "All right, sir. Well, I'm gonna continue on my tour. Hope you have a good night." And he was like, "All right, I'll entertain your question." Because guys, he looked like death. All right, he looked like he hadn't slept in like a year, literally, and it's only been 2 months, and I already had been there, just over a year, maybe a little longer, and I was pretty burnt, but I just wanted to get his take because that dude looked like he was burnt. And he explains to me, he's like, the infantry, he's like, or this unit, it feels like we're in a car going downhill with the brakes not working. And I was like, that's funny because that's exactly how I was like, you couldn't have done a better job explaining it. That's exactly how I thought this was going. All right. And we still had, 4 or 5 months or something like that, or 6 months before deployment. Um, but yeah, that that is what that felt like, right? And that was like one story. And the other story I'll talk to you guys about, of being on duty. Marines do some dumb fucking shit, and it's just because, I mean, they're like college students, but not in college, living like college students. These guys don't. A lot of these young guys don't know how to do their own laundry. They're easily influenced by other Marines who are maybe a little bit older, a little, they come from different parts of the world, and or the country, and they're just, yeah, it's a different beast. I think, crazy story that had happened to me, while I was at the infantry battalion as a ground supply officer was, I was on duty again, and because we do usually 2 to 3 duties a month, um, and I think like 2 of those days are usually weekends. So Marines like to get themselves into crazy shit on the weekends, and that's why you guys see all those memes and all those fucking TikTok videos about that shit. But um, I get a phone call. I was sitting at the duty desk at like 4 a.m. and I see a cop car drive by, and I was like, that's not fucking good. And I get a phone call while sitting at this duty desk from my executive officer, and he's like, did NCIS call you? And I was like, no. And he was like, did PMO call you? And I was like, no, sir. And he was like, okay, I'll give you a call back right now. And I was like, fuck. I was like, the XO calling me at 4 in the morning? Not good. So he calls me back shortly after. He's like, get your shit, get your staff NCO who's on duty with me. He's like, gather up all the duties from all the barracks and go find me this girl. Apparently, a Marine had kidnapped a underage girl. Um, she was 15, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 15, which is legal in a federal base. So 15 or 16. She was like she just made the age cutoff. All right, so this we start. I round up my guys, and at 2-4 at San Mateo Pendleton, we have like this basketball court, and around this basketball court, we got two barracks on each side except the back side, so it's 3 sides to that, and each building had two duties, except the one of the buildings had 4 duties. So wrap all the duties together. Um, and I'm like, hey, here's what we got to do, and we got to go find this lady. We're gonna kick the doors down. We all had keys, and I was like, if they don't answer the door after like 3 seconds, you walk through. You go through the room to the other room, through the restroom to the other room, and out the other, the room that they were sharing. So, um, the major who was at the not major the captain at the time who was at the regiment brought down his staff as well, who was on duty with them, and um, they started on like the middle building. So we're like halfway through my building, me and a couple of the duties, just kicking these doors down, trying to find this fucking girl that has been kidnapped. Well, the captain ends up finding her. I'm sorry, guys. I keep saying major because he was a supply officer as a captain and picked up major and moved on, and I still keep in contact with him. Um, anyways, he finds her, and I finally get up there, let my ex know, hey sir, she's been found, PMO's here, um, and she had like hickeys all over her neck, and he had hickeys, and the kid was 19, and PMO, apparently she wasn't kidnapped, and she like went, like she wanted to go with him, with her, her own volition. So, yeah, it's fucking crazy shit. I don't know why they can't just find somebody their own age, but hey, you know what? Like, she was legal. Fucking crazy shit. PMO literally could not do nothing, but escort her off base, and yeah, just crazy shit like that. We just busted doors down on over like 200-300 Marines just because this fucking junior Marine wanted to do some dumb fucking made some dumb decisions. So I remember we would knock. It was like 4:35 in the morning. Knock on their door. They didn't answer. Unlock the door and walk through it. And everyone's like, "What the fuck is happening?" Um, like people under the covers, like, and it's funny because we found people that were not supposed to be in there. You had like girls and shit, which is fun. I don't care. Like, just don't fucking kidnap them, or at least whoever you're telling that you're gonna go with this Marine, like, don't tell them they're kidnapping you, because you just start some wild shit. All right, but I'm gonna get back to my point on my point number one on your inability to get yourself educated, because with the field operations, with everything else that you're doing, in preparation for the deployment and the field operations, you don't have time to do school, even online school. Like, online school, maybe, maybe doable, but when you go to the ITX, or when you go to 29 Palms for 6 weeks, you just got to make sure you do your classes, when it's not interfering with any of the operations, because they're not going to let you do that shit when you're out in the field, or they're not going to let you come back early to do any of those classes. Like, you're kind of at their will, and a lot of these other MOSs, they send you to other areas where you can do that stuff, right? Like in my last unit, we didn't do field operations. We were at an airfield. We were at the Marine Corps facility Quantico. We were at the HMX-1 airfield, and you worked a normal job. It was 7:30 to like 5 p.m. That was our schedule, and we had the Marines there who did work like a night shift, because they worked the tower or the airfield. But even if you were in that position, you could still do your online classes. You could still go to evening or morning classes. You still had those opportunities, and a lot of Marines took advantage of that and were able to get their bachelor's degree using their tuition assistance, using their GI Bill. So, if you're doing the Marine Corps to educate yourself, to get an education, to advance yourself, because you came from a poor area like myself, like, infantry is not the way to go. You want to go to an MOS that is going to give you that normal work-life balance, a good work-life balance, to where you will be able to use your tuition assistance and get your education at night or in the morning, depending on what schedule you have. And guys, tuition assistance is free as long as you're meeting like the GPA standards, your grade point average standards. So, I need to take this exit. I know. All right. So the next one. So my next point, and I have them written all down here because I didn't want to forget for you guys. So yeah, I mean, my second point is, with that is, don't, you're gonna go get your education, do it in something that you want to do outside the civilian world. Okay, like, don't just go and study something ridiculous. Like, if you're in an MOS that is already giving you the work experience, do something that is gonna complement that, right? Like your education. You're doing accounting in the Marine Corps, do freaking business. Do business administration, do accounting. If you're doing supply chain, study supply chain. Like, it's gonna increase your credibility when you come out in the civilian world. And those are some things I wish like I had the opportunity to do, but because of my position and not wanting to get fired or relieved, I was already working extended hours. I wasn't gonna do that. I was gonna get mine back, take my education, use my GI Bill outside of the Marine Corps, collect my housing allowance, collect disability, and do all that stuff outside. Because if you're an officer and you want to do your education inside the service, you will have to owe back time in service. All right, if you use any education benefits while you're in, you will owe obligated time in service back to the Marine Corps. For me, it was 2 years if I did my master's degree while I was in, and I said fuck that, like no, like I'm not gonna do that because I already have a GI Bill that is gonna pay all my school. It's gonna pay me a little extra, and it's gonna give me housing allowance. Like I'm good, thank you. You know. So my third point. All right, guys, and my third point is going to be your quality of life. All right, as an infantry marine, your quality of life is doo doo. All right, you are a speck of the dust. Infantry battalions have about 800 infantry marines. All right, and you're probably going to have, your headquarters and service company is probably going to have about 220 marines. I think overall it's probably just shy of like 1,000 marines, maybe a little over, depending on, like, if you're going to deploy, they attach some units, they attach like some platoons to you, like an engineering platoon, and you have your RD section that gets attached to you guys. So, but standard, like, you have your 4 companies, you have your 3 rifle companies, and you have your weapons company. And the weapons company has your snipers and all the other cool shit that you guys, the Marines get to do and shoot some cool guns. And the only downfall of that is that you are stuck carrying this shit on hikes, all right? Because they won't let you carry your M4. That you're gonna carry the sniper. You're gonna carry all the other shit that weapon systems that you guys have. So, all right. So, the third point, all right, guys, your quality of life is trash. All right, because you are one of so many, you're not valued. You're replaceable, and that's something that I learned when I was in a field operation. And what we got told was that everyone's going to go to the field, right? You get told everyone's going to go to the field, even headquarters of service company. It's like, okay, that kind of makes sense, I guess, if you're a dumb grunt. But it doesn't make sense if you're a support entity and you have shit that you do that is not field work, right? Like you're doing admin shit, you're fixing people's travel vouchers, you're routing paperwork, you're trying to, execute a budget, you're trying to procure parts, you're trying to do maintenance because you can't do fucking certain level of maintenance in the field. All those things, right? You got to leave people back for that so that shit gets done. Otherwise, what happens is that shit's already broken, and they take all the good shit out to the field. More shit gets broken, it comes back to the field, and like the infantry guys get to rest. You guys, the headquarters of service company personnel, they don't rest. They don't get to fucking go back to their rooms and play Call of Duty after an operation, right? They go back to their fucking work, their jobs, their actual jobs. And so what happens is that they do like 16 fucking hour days, right? When I first got to 2-4, some of our days were to like 9 p.m. Like those poor fucking Marines. And why is because, well, unlike the infantry guys, we had to support them and we had to make sure that they were supported. So, yeah, big quality of life is trash. You're gonna live in some barracks where it's moldy. you got some shitty ass fucking bed. And how do I know that? Because I've been in some rooms like that, right? You're in some shitty ass bed with no it's not comfortable. You get a little fucking sheet of blanket. It's it's plastic. It's not even anything good at all. You'll have like a hole in the fucking ceiling for your AC. No filter, nothing. So it's definitely off the wall. Like if you join a different service like the Air Force, they actually give you BAH once you're in E4, not married. You rate housing allowance, and they give you an opportunity if you want to move off base. So I'm not saying you know that the Marine Corps, the infantry sucks. Like they just go to a different, do your research and look at other opportunities, even if it's not infantry. Like infantry isn't the only MOS out there, and it's not the best MOS. Look, you are gonna have way more opportunities and much better quality of life than a lot of the other, within a lot of the other Marines, because you're not sharing a room with four fucking dudes at the barracks in the infantry. Like you have two guys in a room, then you share the fucking restroom and the toilet, and then you go across and that other room's there, right? Like you are gonna share a restroom with four guys. And I'm telling you guys, you may be a clean person, but those other people that you're gonna get stuck with are not. And yeah, you'll learn. You'll learn for sure. All right, let's see. My next one is, yeah, the other branches give you your own room. Not all of them, I would say, but the Air Force for sure. If I can go back and be like, I recommend the Air Force, I'd recommend to you the Air Force, especially if you have aspirations of doing something else outside of the service after your first 4 years. All right. So there are some perks to doing some of the other branches. All right. My last point. Keep this video short. My fourth point. You are not one of the few. All right. You may be proud, but you're not one of the few. And I'm just kidding. But you actually may be really fucking pissed off, because I'll tell you guys that it is funny. Like the Marine Corps is a funny place. All right, guys. And I'll tell you this: you join the Marine Corps and you see all the propaganda because you join the few, the proud, right? When I was in the Marine Corps, my first year in, like we got told, fucking, hey, you got to go to this orientation, or you got to go to this like presentation from MARSOC, right? And MARSOC comes down and they're like, if you want to be part of something more, something better, go MARSOC. Like, what? I already joined the Marine Corps because I want to be a part of something more. You're telling me I'm still nothing because I'm not MARSOC? Like, go fuck yourself, dude. Like, go fuck yourself. And it's just not worth it. Like, you are one of 800. Do an MOS that you have opportunities to grow, not only in leadership, because guess what? Even if you go infantry and you eventually get up to a fucking NCO level, which will be a long time because there's so many of you that promotions are far fewer in between. Do a job that is going to give you that experience aside from the leadership, all right? Because you'll get that shit regardless, all right? In the service, you're gonna get the leadership experience. You're gonna go through your Lance Corporal seminar. You're gonna go through your NC. You're gonna go to your Corporal's course. You're gonna go to your Sergeant's course, right? Do the MOS that is gonna give you those additional skills, all right? Accounting, supply, communications, logistics, all that good stuff. All right, guys, don't get stuck, especially if you want to only do a few years. And I'll tell you guys what: at the end of the day, if you decide to go infantry, doesn't matter. We fucking need the infantry guys, okay? We need them, absolutely. And if it's a pride thing for you, then go suck it up. embrace the suck and fucking make sure you document all your issues with medical. Make sure you fucking go for your knees, you go for your ankles, you go for your fucking shoulders, because you're gonna get hammered down at the infantry, and then they're gonna like let you recover, and then they're gonna hammer you back down. And the way that I can explain it is that you're being forged. All right, you take this sword, right? You take this piece of metal and you start fucking hammering this thing down, straightening out, and you shove it in the freaking fire. All right, you pull it back out and you hammer it again, and then you toss it in the water, right? Like that is what is gonna happen to you in the infantry, and like make sure you get it all documented. All the issues that you have, you get them documented. Why? Because it's gonna allow you to qualify for disability when you get out. Okay. Um, and don't buy into all the bullshit that they're gonna tell you. It's like, oh, medical is for those who are weak. Like, oh, don't go to fucking medical. Just take some ibuprofen. Like, you're a fucking dumbass corpsman, and you don't know what you're fucking talking about. All right, you're just some 18-year-old fucking kid telling people to take ibuprofen and change their socks. Like, So, do not get a dishonorable discharge, because it's gonna take all those benefits away. At the end of the day, at the least you can get for fucking, serving in the infantry is your GI Bill and your fucking disability. So, all right, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and next time.